Good Friday morning, East Tennessee. My name is David Aldrich, Chief Meteorologist of Captain Accurate Weather, coming to you by way of the Captain Accurate Weather Command Center, coming to you live on Facebook, coming to you live on YouTube right now. All you have to do is go to youtube.com/@CaptainAccurate. You'll find me. I'm actually over here. But one of the things I'm noticing is I got a lot of fog on my left side over here. Hello. So maybe some comments. Let me know. I'll do my best to answer them. Whether you're on YouTube, perhaps that's a different format that you might not use as much. Some of you may say, I've just now discovered you. I didn't know where you were. I've had a few of those conversations before, but also want to let you know that I'm also live on YouTube. I switched my tab and I can see I'm also on Facebook. So a lot going on this morning on a Friday. We got a foggy start. Let me take this full screen. We have one National Weather Service office that has pulled the trigger. I'm talking about Nashville. The National Weather Service in Nashville has issued dense fog advisories for Cumberland and Fentress County. Now, you look at this map, you go, well, that's kind of silly. Maybe there could have been some other places like Oak Ridge, La Follette, Oneida. That's a judgment call. That's a judgment call. I'm not here to point fingers. I'm just trying to explain to you. I'm going to tell you we have dense fog advisories for Fentress and Cumberland counties. But some of you are going to say, I'm in Anderson County and it's pretty bad. Or I'm in Scott County and I can't see. It's like pea soup. So please use your low beams. Please be extra careful. And just know that even though we're not technically under a dense fog advisory, we have dense fog. This happens all the time with heat advisories. Some people say, it's hot. Does that mean I'm not hot? They're hot. Who's hot? Who's foggy? Well, this is what we have. This runs till 8 o'clock Central Time, visibility down to a quarter mile or less, and we have that already in some parts of our viewing area, talking about Scott County, Anderson, Campbell County, just to name a few. But we also have this, again, running until 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. Does that make sense? I'm trying my best to explain it all because sometimes it gets a little confusing, and you're busy. You got things to do. I just want you to know what's going on. The Ultimate Doppler Radar, presented by Insta-Dry, foundation repair, basement waterproofing, crawl space encapsulation, instadry.com. Get a free estimate. But they have also highlighted those little gray shaded counties in Fentress and Cumberland counties for the dense fog advisory. A couple of sprinkles and showers, perhaps near Dunlap, well to the south and west. Other green areas in Sevier County, more like ground clutter. But there's a 30% chance. I've left a 30% chance we get some showers. Most of it's headed toward Atlanta, but there could be some flare-ups as we head through the day and certainly through the morning hours. Right now, we have 66 in Knoxville. You have 64 in Sevierville, and 63 in Crossville, 67 in Oak Ridge. So I just got to buy 4 boxes here, kind of give you a comparison. But if you like to see the map, you can see that a different way too. 61 in Jamestown. It's currently 66, Morristown, and 68 in Tellico Plains. Good morning on a Friday, a happy Friday. It is a weekend. Of course, the kids had some school this week, and they're probably ready to have a weekend. But if you're on Facebook, let me know. Carrie says, good morning, everyone. Be safe. Have a great weekend. Fred says, good morning, David. A beautiful sunrise underway. Absolutely. Sun will be coming up at 6:51. Just in about, say, 8 minutes from now. Darcy Soar says 67 and heavy fog here. Thank you, Darcy, for that update. And good morning to Michael Norman. Hope you have a great Friday. Happy Friday. It's the weekend. I'm also looking at Facebook. I'm also on YouTube. We're just doing a multi-platform type of situation. As I look over here, maybe, how many do we have on here? I see one is watching. See, this isn't something it's not their routine. Maybe not yet, but we're going to add, if you're on YouTube, leave me a comment. Check us out. We're live streaming right now on YouTube as well. You probably see that pretty well. Yeah, there it is. So anyway, it's also streaming at the same exact time. So I'm kind of slow in the uptake, but I can tell you it's kind of nice to do both at precisely the same time. Pair of 6s right now to start you out the door. 66 Knoxville, 64 Maryville, Alcoa, 64 Sevierville, and Pigeon Forge. Now, temperatures around the state are clearly, by far and away, a lot warmer if you head to Chattanooga. They're at 75 as their starting point, 74 in Memphis. I'm very excited about what I'm about to share with you in terms of tropics, in terms of pollen, in terms of severe weather. There's a lot going on, and I'm going to be done in 15 minutes. I believe I can be done by the top of the hour, so bear with me. If you watch this live, fantastic. If you watch this on delay, even better, because you can piece it out based on the time you have to watch it. Or you can fast forward it, too. But you can't fast forward me right now, because I am live. 65 is our dew point. That's come down a wee bit. It's not in the upper 60s, so the humidity factor, well, it is humid. It's August after all. It could be worse if it were closer to 70. And some of these green pockets that you see blanketing the volunteer state through noon today represent stuffy air that's thick and in some cases, dense fog for this morning. By tomorrow, it's not going to get any better. It's going to be more humid. It turns a multiple shade of green, pretty dark green, I might add. As Kermit the Frog said, it's not easy being green. So it's going to be pretty sticky through the weekend, and it will be gradually hotter as I expect temperatures tomorrow should be closer to 90. Sunday will probably be in the upper 80s the way things are shaping up. But those humidity stays with us right through Monday. Don't see any breaks, at least in the next couple of days. After that, different story by midweek. Wind speeds, hardly moving. That makes sense, right? No wind, we got some fog. We have certainly a saturated soil, so we have a lot of this condensing right over. It's like having a cloud come descend on your neighborhood. It's like coming down on your town, and that's sadly what we're dealing with in terms of this morning. Now, if you're an allergy sufferer, you know there's three legs to this stool: trees, then grasses, then weeds. Trees, grasses, then weeds. And you can see the time frame. Usually it starts around March for the tree pollen, and it explodes on those first warm days. Then usually May 15th, June 15th is when grass pollen can be a real problem. But not everybody is allergic to all three. But seemingly, tree pollen and ragweed tend to get a lot of people. If you get a break in the middle of summer, that's fantastic. Some are allergic to all three. But I can tell you this, ragweed is on the rise. It is now August the 11th, and we're going to move into this Labor Day. It's going to reach a fever pitch. So if you're wheezing and sneezing, you got the headache behind the eye, you're like, I don't know what, is this something, I need to see a doctor. Maybe you always want to see your doctor, but you might also be aware that this is the time of season that we expect ragweed to come on like gangbusters. So this is what we'll be watching as we head through the months of the latter part of August and certainly through September. And you don't really get a break. You don't get a break until usually mid-October, because that's when we usually see our first frost. And that's what we're going to need down the road. Hey, it's back to school. It is Friday. Kids might be going off in a foggy start this morning. They might be coming home, he says, with a few passing showers. I've left a 30% chance of rain today and storms, so there will be the possibility of some wet weather. Tracking the clouds, you can see there's a few of those coming in, but it's really the dense fog that many of you might be slowed down with this morning. The thunderstorms right now are, in fact, moving from Alabama to Georgia, and even though there's not a whole lot here in East Tennessee, that could change in the coming hours. So just be mindful, just a 30% chance. Fewer storms, obviously, than we had clearly yesterday. So heading out the door this morning, yeah, a little foggy. 74 at 10, 82 degrees at 2. I think there's a blue Jeep in there somewhere. Yeah, it's a little foggy for stuff, so please be extra careful as you head out the door. But here's my forecast for this Friday. 83 Oneida, Scott County, Huntsville, Robbins. 84 for Duff, La Follette, Jacksboro. Middlesboro, 85. 83 for Morristown, Talbot, as well as Dandridge. 84 for Del Rio, Newport, and Cosby. And 83 for Sevierville this afternoon. About 84 for Maryville. Good morning. Once again, if you're on the call, how many do I have on here? I have to check. I have to check. See, I'm still having to scroll up. I got 2. So now we have another one watching us on YouTube. Glad to have you here. I got a thumbs up. If you like to see me on YouTube, I'll do this more often. I like doing this because this gives me a chance to expand my reach from social media, and this is one of those things I can do very easily now with just doing two Facebook Lives at the same time. Marilyn Bell says, have a great weekend. She's on Facebook, Folk Fest in Cumberland Gap tomorrow. It's from 10 to 5 p.m. Awesome. Thank you for that little promotion, because I love the fact that people like to know what to do over the weekend. Wanda says, I know I hate ragweed. It's not pleasant. And Ed says, good morning, have a great weekend. So we've got obviously a lot to take in this weekend. We'll be a little unsettled in terms of some showers, and I have updated that Saturday night time frame from 20 to a 40%. So we might get a little surge, a few passing showers. Wouldn't last all that long, but if it lasts an hour and a half of your Saturday night, you're going to say, glad you told me, because I do think that possibility now exists. Let me talk about the sunrise. It is going to be coming up in 2 minutes. Isn't that nice? For the last couple of weeks, when I showed this image, the sunrise had already come and gone, and I felt like Johnny come lately. But I can tell you, the sun's up in 2 minutes from right now. That's the fun part of being live. So 6:51, and now the sun sets. Oh no, does that say 8:30? Yeah, that means every day from this point forward it's going to be before 8:30. Oh, that's a sign that summer's coming to an end. I think having to send our kids to school this early, that's a sign of summer has ended. But it's not technically ended until like a third week of September. But I can tell you this, our days are getting shorter. It's just not as noticeable. but it certainly will be by the end of the month. All right, real quickly on the National Hurricane Center. This is Dora, not the Explorer, and that's Hawaii in the center of your screen. Now, many of you probably know why I'm showing you this. Dora, hurricane, high pressure to the north of Hawaii has created a nasty pressure gradient that allows some of these wildfires to break out in Maui and into the islands. So Hawaii has been hard hit by some, in fact, wildfires. But we know from our days back when Gatlinburg and Smokies had fire issues, it's scary. And so our prayers and thoughts go to them. But you can see there's a teachable moment here, not only because Dora is moving to the left, but then there's high pressure to the north. That pressure gradient did allow 80, 85 mile an hour wind gusts to ride into the Hawaiian Islands. So not a good scene for Hawaii, but things will get better over time, but damage obviously is done. Now notice how active it is in the Pacific. There's a real teachable moment here. You're not going to hear this virtually anywhere. You're like, honey, I'm so glad he told me that. Did you know, do you remember, how many of you are old enough to remember, show of hands in comments, how many of you are old enough to remember seesaw from the playground? I didn't call it seesaw, I called it a teeter-totter. Okay, a teeter-totter. Some of you are like, Harris Teeter? No, that's a grocery store. Teeter-totter. Oh, teeter-totter. Okay, teeter-totter, seesaw, same thing. That's how the oceans typically work in terms of the Atlantic. And within El Nino, coming on strong, you're getting a lot of activity, where? In the Pacific, and virtually crickets going on in the Atlantic. So it's like yin and yang. So I understand that. No new tropical. There's nothing going on. Like if I just showed you this image day after day, you think the tropics are quiet. How come Hawaii is having problems? Because their cauldron of water is on fire. And when you have a strong El Nino, they get more tropical development. We typically get less. Does that make sense? That's not to say we can't get more. We will. It's August. And August 20th through the 10th of September is the peak. But there's nothing, I mean nothing going on in the Atlantic. And that is normal. Normal for an El Nino. You usually see a lot of activity in the Pacific and a little nothing going on in the Atlantic. It's a teeter-totter seesaw effect. So there you go. As far as our next named storm, Emily, Franklin, and Gert will be the next few names on the list. It is 6:52. Another element that's kind of quelled or slowed down some of those tropical systems coming off of Africa is the dust. There's a lot of dust coming off of Africa, and that too is also normal, right? So you see a lot of dust that might swing into Texas by the 20th of August, but this is actually the start. The peak for hurricane season is August 20, and there's still some dust in the air. So maybe things are pretty quiet, unless something homegrown comes closer to town. Hurricane season historically does peak around the 10th of September, which is usually why you and I can get a really good deal on a cruise around Labor Day. Because usually there's a lot of activity, or even a beach property along the Atlantic coast, because they know that usually there's probably a tropical storm that's kind of forming. It could ruin your vacation. So it's harder to sell sometime that inventory, I would imagine. Headlines, we're looking at fewer storms today, spotty storms on Saturday, and scattered storms on Sunday. And I could add the explanation point of some scattered storms Saturday night. They might be spotty during the day, but more scattered towards, say, maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock. So just want to throw that out there. By the way, right now we have 66 degrees at the airport, wind that's out of the northeast at 3. We have some fog, 96% relative humidity, the dew point very close to the actual temperature at 65. So we've got a 30, 20, 40, 60. Do I hear another 40? It's on the board, but I can tell you next week, by midweek, the humidity is going to come way down. So you're going to feel a lot more comfortable by middle of next week. That's worth the price of this admission. I tell you what, that's something to look forward to. And of course, my premium members get a lot more than that. They get weather well beyond the 7-day. They get it weeks in advance. Many things that they get some intel on. By the way, the Valley Planner, average high this time of year, that's a wrong icon. I can go ahead and take that off. But you can see 85 is my expectation. That 80% was left over from yesterday. And we know all too well, yesterday was, in fact, pretty stormy. All right, here's the severe risk for today. If you have travel plans, I'm looking at some yellow areas for St. Louis, Chicago. Those could be some hot spots today for scattered severe storms that would include Kansas City and Minneapolis. If you're traveling southbound today, maybe you are at the beach today. Savannah, Tybee Island, Myrtle Beach, even areas around Destin could find some isolated severe storms today. We may find some storms, 30% chance, but not severe, and the expectation is not severe. Saturday, the hot spots are in the panhandle of Oklahoma for scattered severe storms, as is Buffalo, New York City, and Columbus, Ohio for scattered severe storms Saturday. But you'll notice we are not in the crosshairs, but we have potential for storms, but may not reach severe limits. And Sunday, same thing. Some hot spots for severe weather. This is level 1, level 2 in the green and yellow. So this includes Kansas City, Columbia, Missouri, and St. Louis, just to name a few. And if you expand the view, it goes all the way out towards, say, North Texas and into western Kentucky. But nothing going on here Sunday other than some run-of-the-mill general thunderstorms. Possible. I hope that helps. We're going to get in here into the Futurecast. But by the way, we'll come back on camera real quick. If you're on the call, let me know. Happy birthday, says Wanda Poe. Who's she say happy birthday to? I'm not quite sure I caught this in stream. Y'all have a safe and blessed weekend, says Fred. Fred, thank you for being here. Jackie says this is cool, seeing other things rather than just local weather. Well, my pleasure. I just like to give you perspective because, you know, we're not necessarily static in East Tennessee. We travel. We have family outside of the four walls of Tennessee, and I like to give you perspective of what's coming our way. Felicia says, good morning. Foggy and cool in South Knoxville. Celebrating my baby's 9th birthday today. That's what we're saying. Happy birthday. Glad for no rain this morning. So glad to have Felicia here. And I'm also on YouTube. Do we have any other streamers on here? Let me see. I see 2 still watching. And I may be the one. So I may have 1 watcher. But if you're on here, I have somebody who's writing in Spanish. Say Buenos Dias. But that's about all I can read on this in the time that I'm in. I'll have to read that. Maybe I'd do a translator before the morning is through. Here's the Futurecast. You can see the rain around Atlanta does try to work through the Southern Valley. This is why I put a 30% chance for some showers and storms today. And it may not just be confined to the Southern Valley. There's some data that suggests it moves up toward the plateau. Like so. So if this verifies, we might get a hit or miss shower right through midday anywhere in our viewing area. And it kind of dances around with the trough that's northeast of Atlanta, so we'll keep it pretty quiet tonight with scattered clouds, more patches of fog in the morning. I left a 20% chance by day tomorrow, but I think it will get stronger once these showers near Bowling Green come down. And I think the timing of this will be interesting. As you can see right there, there's 5 o'clock. A few other showers in yellow come dancing down, all based on the front. So the front's going to be driving this and giving us some possibility of some rain this weekend. And then we'll go on from there. But here's another look. This has a different set of timing, different set of equations it's utilizing. But it gives you a sense by noontime today, we should be around 78 degrees by noontime. And as you can see, there's a few showers just north of Tellico Plains and Athens as projected here. Doesn't mean it verifies 100%, but it could be a good use for planning purposes. Now 1:30, maybe a few showers in the Smokies, maybe one near Jamestown, Crossville at 1:30 this afternoon Eastern time. But there's not a whole lot to this. That's why I left it as a 30% chance. And it will be moving on its way out of the picture as we head into this evening. So that's where things are shaping up, at least for tonight. Tomorrow morning we start dry, and this one's a little too fast for my taste. I think it'll come in much later. And most of these downpours you can see there may be confined to Saturday evening between the hours of 7 and 10 p.m. So for today, 85. It is now 6:58. I'm going to finish on time. I'm going to finish on time on both Facebook and YouTube. Wow, that's talent. I'm doing my best. Anyway, let me get you to the next stage here. Southwest winds will pick up today, 5 to 10, but they're not moving much now, which is why we have fog as a problem in spots this morning. And please be extra careful. I know bus drivers and kids walking the crosswalk. It's very important to keep it slow through those school zones. 82 in Crossville, 82 in Wartburg, 84 in Newport, 83 in Morristown. Looking for highs in the 90s today if you're traveling to Nashville, Jackson, or Memphis. But a little cooler in the Tri-Cities. Now, last night I initially had us at 87, but just based on the data this morning, I thought 85 would probably cover it. So it's still mid-80s, and it's still a 30% chance for showers and storms. But if you're looking for the warmth, go no further than maybe Chattanooga. They'll be 88 today. And over toward Nashville, they should be around 91 this afternoon. It is 6:59. Tonight, down to 70. That's sticky. Patches of fog that could be dense. Did you say dense? Yes, it could be dense tomorrow morning, just like today, almost like a carbon copy. Boy, that's a throwback. Just like a repeat situation, an encore presentation of dense fog first thing tomorrow morning with winds 3 to 8. Down to 67 for Wartburg and Newport, 68 for Morristown and Maryville, 70, and 70 degrees for Kingston and Madisonville, as well as Tellico Plains. Here's your Captain Accurate Weather Authority forecast for Knoxville, East Tennessee. 90 tomorrow, 20% chance, but I was very deliberate See what I did there? You see that little icon between Saturday and Sunday? So I don't want your Saturday night plans to catch you by surprise. We're on an unsettled pattern. It's more humid, as indicated by lows around 70 or higher. But once you get down into the 62 range, my oh my, it's going to feel great. Some of you will be in the upper 50s, Cumberland County, Crossville. Some of you will be in the upper 50s, Jamestown, Fentress County. Some of the plateau areas to the north and west, and maybe even Oneida, could be in the upper 50s come Wednesday morning, and that's going to feel refreshing. It's going to feel fantastic. It's going to feel like this is delightful. Love this stuff. But again, it'll get warmer as we head back to Thursday. We're up to 89 degrees. By the way, I don't know if you saw, because we've had so much weather this week, I don't know if you saw my Oak Ridge pictures. You know, I went to Oak Ridge, Tennessee. I've been there dozens, if not hundreds of times, and I go there quite a bit because our girls have reasons to be there for some cool things that they do. But the Oak Ridge, Tennessee picture here is with Darcy Soar. She's one of my premium members, had a chance to spotlight all things Secret City. And you know, in Sevier County, that should say Anderson County. That's a misprint. Boy, I've had a real thing. That should say Anderson County. It's a leftover from when I had Kodak last week. But the top secret, hey, it's Secret City. I can't take some pictures, wouldn't even try some of the cool laboratories and things there. So I just kept moving and took pictures of things that I thought were noteworthy, like Big Ed's Pizza, right? And of course, the Friendship Bell. But I've now done 36 towns. Kodak was the week before. That's why it said Sevier County. I forgot to change that banner. But Friendsville, White Pine, Greenville, my premium members, because we had an abbreviated week, we had the tornado, EF2 in Knox County, around Yarnell and Lovell Road. We've had heavy rains yesterday. We broke a rainfall record, by the way. 2.53 was the record rainfall that we made yesterday. The old record was 2.10, and that was from 1920. So each day of the year has its own daily rainfall record. So we took one out. More than 90, it was 80, 90, almost 100 years, right? So we're talking about, it's interesting because this is the spotlight pictures that I take each and every week and like to highlight all the beauty that is East Tennessee. Some people aren't, I've had people say, I can't get out, I don't get out much, and I love to see these pictures. So if you want to share it, I would love for you to join us and share us and join us on the premium service. Darcy and I, we went to Big Ed's Pizza. We had a great time, and that's one of the benefits of being a premium member. Just $4.99 a month, 16 cents a day. You also get weeks of weather in advance on a daily basis, so there's a lot. And you get access to me and more local posts, a lot more local posts each and every day. And all you have to do is ask one of my premium members. Usually it says the name subscriber next to their name. Just want to say thank you again if you're on the call. See here, got a couple more still watching here on YouTube. And if you're on Facebook, Alice says, good morning, enjoy the weekend. A little foggy this morning in Glenmary. No doubt about that. Let me see if we go back to the fog picture before we end this Facebook and YouTube live situation. Let's go back and look.